Okay, everybody. So we are back once again with the main CBC podcast. Last week, if you joined us, we hit a big milestone and we introduced a new idea here, which we're going to get to in just a bit. I am, of course, your weekly host, Armin. Find me at Armini's and at Comic Book Cast, and I'm here with Mitch.
What's up? You can find me at Mitch692.
Also, Tristan.
Hey guys, you can catch me at It's J Chance.
And Shay.
Hey guys, you can find me on Instagram at Michelle1602.
So, last week we introduced a weekly question we're going to ask so newer listeners can kind of get to know us a little bit better. Last week we covered our favorite MCU film. This week we're going to stick a little bit more with MCU before we change it up. So, the question I want to ask this week is everybody's favorite MCU villain. Now, this is open to TV and films, so you could do one from each or one that you like overall. So, I guess I won't start first this week. I'll start it at Tristan.
I think mine would be Eric Killmonger because for some of his ideals, they're not bad. It's just how he came about in trying to implement them. Mm-hmm. Because for all intents and purposes, it's trying to force people to change, be it by, by telling them or potentially killing them because they don't agree with your ideals is kind of a bad thing to do.
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to be PG here. Can't really curse anymore.
That's true. Yeah. Fuck you, YouTube.
And it's just that's basically what I got. But it just shows that sometimes you're gonna have to try and do more than just talk it out because people don't really want to change most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Killmonger can be on there. I guess let's hear it from Shay.
Okay, I actually did too. My favorite is actually Kingpin from Daredevil. I like the fact that we actually kind of got a real character with him, and we've been able to grow with his character throughout all three of the movie or seasons. There you go. And I also like the fact that he came from a broken world, and that's most of villains. They come from a broken world and come into this hatred, and that's what creates them to be a villain. But he has, in the end, like a actual, not moral, but he wants to help the world become a better place. But just like Killmonger, who's actually my favorite MCU character, they just do it in the wrong way. They have good intentions, but just bad execution.
I guess I'll go next and we'll leave Mitch for last. So for me, I have two, again, also TV series and film. TV series, I have to go with Kingpin as well. Just, unmatched. Vince D'Onofrio just delivers every single line you toss at him. Even when some of the dialogue gets a little bad, he like embraces it and makes it worthy. So it's like, all right, he knows what he's doing. On the film side, is anybody really going to argue against Malekith from the Dark World?
No, not totally.
Okay, good, because it's not it, because you'd have to be, no. So, for films, this one took me a bit, and I had to really think about it, and I landed on Ultron. Ultron, to me, really sticks out as someone people overlook, but his reasoning alone, having seen how the internet is, he plugs into the internet, and within a minute, he's like, humanity is absolute garbage, I have to take it down. And his reasoning is, hey, I gotta throw a meteor on Earth because that's what killed the dinosaurs. Like, he has this childish approach to it, but then again, Microsoft built an AI and connected it to Twitter like a couple years ago, and by the end of the first day, it wanted to kill humanity. So, he comes from an actual place of reason once you see how terrible humanity is and once you can tap into all the news around the world. To me, Ultron stands as like the people really mind this character. So I absolutely love him. Every time I watch Age of Ultron, I love him more and more. So I know I might be in the minority. I'm pretty sure the comments will let us know, but that's it. Mitch, what do you got?
Well, I was going to say Ultron as well, and I still am, because it's, I don't know, mainly for like a lot of the reasons you said as well. But like Tony Stark is my he's like one of my all-time favorite fictional characters, and then they stuck true to what Ultron was. He is the antithesis. He is like, you take away something from someone, and you're left with that pure dark side. Like he is just that pure dark side of Tony Stark in this, like as he is like Hank Pym in the comics. So that's kind of like the majority of why. But I don't know, they just captured that character perfectly. Like if you go back to the old like Silver Age Ultron where he's like quipping all the time.
Yep.
Like it's just a perfect character. Well, not perfect character, but like it's one of like the best translations they've done.
So what I know now is that scientists better not make an AI and hook it up to the internet to go to Twitter.
No, instant mistake.
Yeah.
Instant mistake for humanity.
They need to like sit there, and if they're gonna put an AI, put it on like Upworthy, which is an entire like page dedicated to good things people do, and then maybe they won't want to kill us.
Cat videos. Just we can watch a whole bunch of cat videos.
Yep.
Yes.
It'll make them at least happy. So there it is, the question of the week. Next week, I'm going to try to find one that deals a little bit more outside the MCU. So
maybe I'll think of it.
Brace yourself for that one, and we'll see what we could come up with. Our topic here to kind of kick off everything, we learned recently that an established MCU character will be revealed to be LGBT in some way, shape, or form somewhere down the road. We don't know. This has kind of taken on a life of its own as a topic on the internet. So, how do you guys feel about this? Because personally, to me, it's about damn time, and I have speculation on who I think it's going to be. But how do you guys feel about this? First off,
I'm okay with it. It's just like I just wondered like who it is going to be. Is it going to be the quote unquote Valkyrie, or are they going to introduce Hercules as a bi character? Like he's canonically supposed to be.
It's already established.
It's not really an established character, so it can't be Hercules. Like Hercules could be one down the line, but I think it's safe to say it is Valkyrie. Now they've already hinted that she's bi, so just come out and say it in like Thor 4.
Well, if you sit there and you think about it, all of the Greek gods, if they're going by the actual like Viking and Greek and mythology, it would be them anyways.
It was normal back in the day, so that would make sense for Valkyrie. My guess, and this is like my pie in the sky, but I'm hoping they do it, is Sam Wilson. I think that would be quite insane, because we've never seen him have any relationship or anything in the MCU.
No, the only thing we know is his partner died, and they were extremely close. Who's to say that his partner was not his partner?
I don't know how they're going to play it, but to me it feels like if they were to put that in like the Disney Plus show to explore that side of Sam and him also taking on the mantle of Captain America, it kind of makes a big statement. And at the same time, we know he's going to show up in a future Avengers movie. So if you watch a Disney Plus series, then you know that character. Then he shows up and he's leading the Avengers. You're like, boy, we just like leaped forward so far ahead of where we thought we were going to be. And I don't know. To me, I just feel like
here's the question. Here's the question: is the world ready for not just a black Captain America, a black LGBT Captain America?
So I asked this to a bunch of
that's going to cause some like. Not that I'd be against it,
right,
or anything, but that's one hell of a.
It's just gonna make the haters hate more, but the rest of the people who've been fighting and wanting more representation, they're gonna sit there and be like, "Holy cow!"
Mitch, you know how we always talk about the bubble on here? It's like the bubble you think you're in online doesn't matter. I think the vocal majority will be internet guys screaming about it, just like they did Captain Marvel. And what was funny was somebody brought up the poll that the director of Shazam shared the other day, which was, Variety posted a poll, what are you more excited for? And Captain Marvel was losing, and he shared it saying, look, the real Captain Marvel is winning, or something like that. But in the end, where did that lead? Because Captain Marvel is literally like the biggest superhero standalone film of all time, because she's never been in anything else before her own film, right? Like,
mind you, also the fact that it was in Vanity is more for women. What are women going to go and be like? I'm more excited to see a guy who's in a muscle suit, and that's the Vanity type of people.
It depends on who's sharing the articles and where you're polling, and like to me, I don't think it matters, what they're gonna do with any of these LGBT characters. I think the point is, as long as it's not like shoved in your face, I think people will accept it. And obviously Valkyrie is going to be one, but I think there's got to be someone else.
Here's my problem might be the wrong word to say it, but can we not do it with a straight actor? No, if
Yeah.
you're gonna do it with an LGBT actor.
Right.
That's kind of why I think it's Tessa Thompson. Like, it's the obvious one, really.
Mhm.
It's like if they did do Sam, I wouldn't necessarily like have a problem with it. But him being straight, playing gay characters, a bit like, It just feels like you're trying to get a brownie point.
It brings us back to that whole Andrew Garfield problem. Or was it Andrew Garfield that said it? He was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna."
About Spider-Man being gay.
No, it was after that where he was like, "I'm technically bisexual now," because he like researched being bisexual for a month for a role in a movie, and people were like, no.
I think it was him. Yeah,
It was like a big thing a couple of years ago. It was like exploded because it was like, no, that's a terrible way to look at it. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm waiting to see who it is and where it's going to be revealed. Do you think they reveal it in a movie or a Disney Plus show?
Oh, it's got to be a movie. If they want to legitimize it, it's got to be in a movie. Not saying that the TV's not going to be legitimate, but like people have that connotation that like if it's not in the movie, it doesn't count.
Yeah. Well,
that's true. Because look at everybody with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're like, no, none of that's canon. I'm like, really? Because if you want to know what happened in the in-between, you have to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I mean, to be fair, it's not canon anymore.
yeah, and now it's just its own, wherever the hell it is.
I don't know.
Unless they're like multiverse, which, I mean, I'm hoping they do say it's multiverse.
I mean,
but,
you could. Yeah.
At the minute, it's just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, that first episode threw me off. But anyways.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I have a feeling. How fast do you think this is going to happen?
I don't know. If it's like a Thor 4 and it is Valkyrie, then it's going to be at least maybe like 5 years. But
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to reveal who it is before the movie or TV show is available to kind of get people hyped for that particular movie or show. Because
here's the argument. China is... like, you remember the whole uphill battle for Black Panther in overseas, specifically in China.
Yeah,
it was
did not do very good in China.
Like,
but on the flip side, right? Endgame has a gay character.
Yep.
And it's made like 600 million in China. So.
True. So it's like, yeah.
Then again, it's not a main character, to be fair.
Yeah, it's Joe Russo. So
yeah.
I mean, I wonder how that's going to go. I think they're literally testing the market right now. I think that's what's happening. So, I guess we'll know soon enough, but that's our discussion on. More topics here at hand. We're going to be talking about potential MCU Phase 4 leak. This is going to be interesting. So, Mitch, what are the leaks saying out there? What do we got?
Right, well, it's huge. Like, a couple of them match up with what we talked about last week with Guardians, Doctor Strange. Like, they go into a bit more about the Doctor Strange one. Like, apparently, it's going to have scenes in the 1980s, but I don't know how. Like, unless he can time travel without a time stone, or he makes a time stone whole again. But
I mean, it's magic, technically.
I mean, there is that. No, yeah. But like, can he travel back in time? We don't know. According to this, apparently he can. There's times you've got Shang-Chi, and apparently, like, I don't know how credible it is, but it's just like there's a lot that matches up with other stuff. But it says the Mandarin is rumored to be Shang-Chi's father. And that kind of puts me off this entire thing, which I think we said that from the start.
Oh, yeah.
So, you just get rid of Fu Manchu and put in the Mandarin or something. It says Eternals, Richard Madden's going to be Icarus. I think we kind of already knew that. Yep. Black Widow, interestingly enough, it says that Florence Pugh, or however you pronounce her name, P-U-G-H, is going to be Yelena Belova.
Oh, so the Black Widow? Huh.
Yeah. So it's a case of, like, is that actually going to be a prequel now? Or is it going to be like a half and half?
Right.
I don't know.
Oh, that would be really interesting if they just create a new Black Widow. They talk about Romanoff a little bit, but actually it's a story of a new Black Widow.
I mean, it'd be nice if you could bridge the gap, so if it is a prequel and we see her, but then if we're flashing forward to modern day and we see her kind of, today and she does join the team, that would be kind of cool. Like,
So that's one thing, but like, I think they have to kind of do something like that, because you can't just chuck a prequel in there to start Phase 4.
No, you can't.
Like, that's a crazy way of just carrying. No, especially after this now. Like, everyone wants to know what's next, so why go backwards?
Right.
Yeah, especially a character who's been falling. So.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, especially when Eternals is going to be like a semi-prequel as well. It'd be a bit weird to have two.
Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, we want to show you Phase 4, but You better wait till like another 2 years.
He's like pre-Iron Man 2. No. Far From Home, it says mysterious from parallel dimension. We kind of know that. Well, we think we know that.
Mm-hmm.
It says he's a criminal controlling the elementals to masquerade as a hero to like usurp Iron Man, because obviously there's a bit of a power void at the minute. Oscorp is to buy the Stark Tower, which matches up with another leak.
Yeah.
It says Chris Pratt has several more movies left.
Okay, so
that can be very easy to explain because if they're going basically as Guardians of the Galaxy, and we have a 1 and 2, have a 3, but then actually shift it into as Guardians of the Galaxy, and they add more members.
I also
could
think
work.
Guardians lends itself to rotating members, as we've seen in 2 movies so far. So, like,
well, as it said, like we know the team's completely different after Endgame.
Yep.
And this, like, go back to last week as well with a little bit of a leak we had. It says again, like, Moondragon's going to be here. And James Gunn has teased Quasar, and this says about Quasar. Apparently, Beta Ray Bill is going to be like the high evolutionary planet stuff as well, which makes sense. You know, you could quite easily go, right, this is the last Guardians team or Guardians movie. We're then going to do an Annihilators movie.
Yeah.
Or an As Guardians. Like, there's plenty of space teams you can do to carry that franchise going forward and just have Quill be the front man of it all.
I think that's kind of a good idea. And when it comes to, like, Star-Lord having more of a, you know, role and kind of being up front, it kind of makes sense to me. I mean, not an insult to him, but he's not Chris Evans, Robert Downey, or even, you know, like...
Not even Chris Hemsworth,
right,
honestly.
He's not at that level. He hasn't had his own, look, he's the spotlight guy, right? So his contract is probably cheaper, and they can keep him on the front. Yeah, but I mean the MCU.
Yeah.
So
he's a great character to have a supporting cast. And I feel like that's how they have to keep Quill, and they have to keep Chris Pratt. It's not him who always shines. It's the supporting cast that helps bring him up. So I feel like that's going to be a great way for them to continue doing it. And if he's going to have multiple movies, Guardians is probably going to come, and you never know. Maybe Captain Marvel 3, we have whoever the new Guardians are team up with her, and they go and do space stuff.
right, because remember, Kevin Feige's even said, from now on, we do team-ups. There's always going to be like a guest stars or something in these movies. So, I mean, Star-Lord showing up in maybe like a Nova movie or something, that would make sense to me. Like,
I mean, do it. I want, like, Richard Rider and Quill.
Yeah.
I've been missing that for years. So.
Yeah, that would be... There's untapped potential there, so, makes sense to me. What else they got in that giant league?
You got Chris Hemsworth has renewed his contract for several more movies.
Yeah.
Expected to appear in both Guardians 3 and Thor 4. We've heard rumblings of Thor 4, which if you're going to have a fourth one, Thor's probably the best one to do it. It says Norman Osborn's going to be main antagonist for that. We'll get onto a bit more later about the grounded side of the MCU going forward. So, you know, I think that's clearly like a Sinister Six, Dark Avengers.
Yeah.
I'll be so happy.
Obviously, that all depends if like Sony re-up the contract, but I think there's not even a worry about that.
Here's the thing: looking at this potential, you know, Phase 4 leak. I mean, the films that are leaking that are quote unquote confirmed in this leak are all factual. Like, we know we're getting Guardians 3, we know we're getting Shang-Chi, we know we're getting Eternals. It's like, well, you know, it's like. That's kind of the thing about it. It's like everything we know is like what's coming in the next 2 to 3 years. We know nothing beyond that because we don't even have dates beyond that because Disney's made it a very clear statement. I mean, like, we're only talking for the next couple of years. So it's like, well, all right. Like, it's...
Like, you know that Disney has the next 10 years planned, but I think that because of what happened with Spider-Man, and they were like, hey, here's our next, like, 5 to 10 years... Then Spider-Man gets thrown in and be like, oh, well, hold on, throw everything in the air. Yeah. So it's a lot smarter for them to only do it in smaller increments just in case something big happens.
Or some plans change, yeah.
But like the entire slate they have here is Black Widow, The Eternals, Black Panther 2, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange 2, Nova, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volumes 3... plans for Thor 4, Ant-Man 3, Captain Marvel 2, New Avengers, Young Avengers, Dark Avengers.
Oh boy! Well,
which
I guess we'll get to those in due time. But,
so Phase 5 then is possibly then mutants.
Well, the MCU is about to get divided between the cosmic and the ground level heroes. Now, I covered this in a video, I want to say like 6 or 7 weeks ago. Somebody told me directly, they were like, if you put this in a video, just talk about this aspect. And it seems like that all these leaks are pointing to it. Essentially, Spider-Man is going to kind of be a grounded Avengers team buildup where Spidey kind of brings in, heroes around him where they build up to something. And then you have the cosmic guys like, Thor out there. You have Nova coming out. You have the cosmic, approach that you're doing with Captain Marvel. And that's all kind of like a bigger threat that's out there in space. And honestly, this makes sense as the biggest approach to me because it's like, can you really just do another style Avengers right off the bat? That's like...
No.
Exactly. That's not how you do it. Like, that's going against what you need to do.
And so we spoke about burnout, I think, last week. Like, if you just keep going bigger and bigger and bigger, like, you have to go like smaller. Like, you can't just go 10-year arc, 10-year arc, 10-year arc, If you split everything up, like, especially between, like, the grounded and the cosmic side of everything, like,
yeah.
It makes sense, though, too, because we already had Loki, who's the one who introduced the cosmic side to Earth. And now that we have Captain Marvel and we have the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're up there in space protecting Earth and making sure that from a distance, nothing's going to come and harm us. We're obviously going to still continue having the aftermath because half the world was snapped and now they're back. So now we have a lot more potential of villains, and you need the grounded people to be able to help keep the world.
Right. It's splitting up your resources, right? Like, you have to think, half of whatever planet, wherever the next villain comes from, was also snapped in half. So, like, galactic consequence.
So it also makes sense because you can't look at everything like that, like something as monumental that happened like that, in just like one little crossover. You're going to have to explore that in multiple different things. So splitting that up between like Earth and cosmic, it's kind of the only really way you can go.
Yeah. So what do you think they do for the cosmic side of things if they're building up to something big?
I bring in the abstracts. To be honest, like eternity, infinity, death, Chronos, and all that lot. That might be a bit too much for right now. If they're doing Eternals, you can just do Celestials and have it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmic Judgment. They come down. It's like, oh, you're only half left. You're judged.
Yeah.
Wipe them all out.
I think that's kind of the thing. Like, I'm trying to think of a big cosmic threat, and I know automatically the comments are already filling up with, you idiots, Galactus, but no. No.
They're going to save Galactus for a while.
He's got to be at least a decade away, if not more,
Yeah.
So like phase 5, when we start having a lot more of mutants and all of these other
I would say
potential
you're
people.
not getting Galactus till at least 6 or 7. Like, it's...
Yeah.
He's such a big-time player.
Like Fantastic Four 3.
Yeah.
It's got to be. That's what I do anyway, personally.
Or something even more out
Sticking
there.
Silver Surfer in there too.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring in Silver Surfer in the first one.
I mean, James Gunn said he wants to do Silver Surfer at some point, so, I mean...
I would trust him to be able to do the cosmic side of him correctly, and more likely we'll get Silver Surfer, like we've talked about this before. We're not going to get Silver Surfer as the Surfer until the end, kind of like Captain Marvel is not Captain Marvel until we see her plane that says she was a captain. So I feel like that's how they're going to do it. They're going to give you a reason to care for this character.
Yeah, just give us the Nora and Rad story. It's unique enough to, put him in another movie. Like,
and that's how you can also slowly build Galactus.
You could easily just do Annihilus.
Yeah.
They have him now outright. So if you're doing a Nova movie as well, just do Annihilus.
Yeah. It's the easy approach. Yeah. And also at the same time, when you think about the grounded side, that automatically opens up that potential for a Thunderbolts. So it's
which there's a lot of rumblings about Thunderbolts in the minute.
Oh yeah.
So
it's kind of interesting that James Gunn went to Marvel, pitched Thunderbolts, and Kevin Feige was like, "No, you're perfect for Guardians." And then like Warner Brothers is like, "Why don't you make our version of the Thunderbolts called the Suicide Squad?" It's like, so now I would love it if he came back and did Thunderbolts, but I think they'll get someone else to do it.
Yeah, especially
Maybe-
at this point with Suicide Squad, it's just like, don't repeat yourself.
Oh, maybe they also do a team up of directors. Like they have him and another director come together
do it, yeah.
and be able to do that, because then at least you have his visionary mind, because he really wants to do it, and maybe somebody who's a little more grounded visionary.
So
and
like he executive produces but actually does something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
would be really
James
cool.
Gunn and David Ayer.
Oh God, no! Get David Ayer out of there. Red Hulk just has Hulk written on his forehead,
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
right?
in red. No.
In red. Oh my God. He's
Oh,
wearing
red Sharky.
ripped up cholo clothing.
With a oh my god, what a Sharpie. No, please do not take this advice.
No, this is perfect. Get Jared Leto to do it too.
Oh.
10 out of 10. So yeah.
How is he
that's,
gonna method act being Hulk?
He's gonna take a
Just
bunch of
steroids.
steroids.
Yep, that's what he's gonna do.
Steroids and red body paint done.
He shows up literally looking as jacked as the Rock. They're like, "Oh, we were gonna CG you." He's like, "No, I am CG now."
Oh my gosh. What, is he gonna gamma radiation himself too?
I mean, it's Leto, so sure.
Oh my gosh.
The hero the people deserve. Oh God. The big rumor around town is MCU is going to focus on 3 to 6 film arcs. Like, this is kind of interesting to me because this suggests, taking a step back from what you've been doing now. And I kind of like this idea. It's like, after Endgame, you have to slow it down. Like, you really do. Like, you're going too grand if you go, all right, the next movie, we got to team up everybody again. It's like, that's too much. Like, we just had that,
I feel like it's too quick too. Like, give us a few years to establish new characters, be able to actually care for these characters, then have them come in. And now that it's grounded and cosmic, do a grounded team up, a cosmic, and then after that come and do a big of all of it.
Wouldn't it be kind of cool if the Sinister Six ended up being MCU villains? Like, yeah, they're Spidey villains, but in the next Avengers, like, I don't know what the hell you call it, but what if the Sinister Six are ravaging through New York and Peter's like, I need a team, so he gets, Sam Wilson and, Shang-Chi or whatever, and they battle them. I could see that working as well. And that's a nice mini 6-7 movie build-up that you can actually do. And
it seems like where everything is at the minute, like where everything is, it kind of lends itself to have this sort of a story. They just have like little quick 3 to 6 films. But
yeah.
So basically, what you want is Spider-Man and his amazing friends versus the Sinister Six.
Yes. Done.
Oh my God, yes. Dude, that would be amazing.
Give us Iceman.
Yeah, that's how you bring in Iceman right there. Like, that's it. That's the key.
In that ridiculous suit as well. Like the 80s, 90s looking cartoon suit.
No, I just want him to be like an ice statue. We need that. Like, don't like naked ice statue. That's what he needs to be.
No, we do not need Dr. Manhattan happening again.
Oh,
it's right. It's cold. You wouldn't see anything anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my god.
Is that ice dong?
Oh,
and
man.
he shriveled up.
Yeah.
Well,
Just like a little turtle head poking out. It's like,
Oh my god.
this is the film we need, folks.
No.
So, okay, like, how do you do this then? Like, what? Because you're obviously not building up to the grandiose. Like, you're not getting another, like, Endgame style giant bombastic thing for at least another 10 to 15 years. So if you're scaling it back, you're looking at maybe a Avengers style, a couple heroes here and there, a couple movies. So what kind of villain do you toss into that? Like I said, maybe Sinister Six. What do you guys feel is a villain? Like, do you do Mandarin, proper Mandarin now? Is that what you do? Like,
I mean, you could do. My idea is still what we're going to talk about next. Unfortunately, it's the only one I got in my head.
okay. Because I see this whole film arc thing as a, how do I put this? As a smart way to make the MCU look smartly.
It's a smart way to ease people into the whole overarching saga for however long they're going to want to do it.
Right. Because here's my personal feelings. Whatever the next Avengers movies are, which we'll talk about just in a little bit, there is no way they make Endgame level money. Because that was built up for 11 years. That was strategic. So I guarantee you, 4 years from now, whatever new Avengers movie happens, it's going to be a quote-unquote box office bomb because it doesn't do Endgame numbers. It's like, well, nothing will do Endgame numbers till Secret Wars. So, like, you know, it's...
I feel a good character would be bringing, like, Zemo back because of the fact that you had him in Civil War. He is alive. Now, bringing him back, being able to see that his plan worked but didn't work at the same time, and be able to be like, hey, I'm going to now destroy the rest of the Avengers. And that's when you have, like, Sam, you have Ant-Man, you have the rest of them who are going to be some of the grounded people who were in Civil War come back, and they have to defeat him as a villain, but you kind of build him up and then potentially have him actually in a suit as well.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's how you build off the Thunderbolts. Like, bring back...
I was just thinking that, like, if you take, like, the Spider-Man approach to how they're doing Sinister Six, but spread that out throughout different movies, and then have a Thunderbolts movie to cap that arc off.
I mean, they've already kind of hit that point because they got Abomination, which, you know, he trust me, guys, he's coming back. You got Thunderbolt to lead it. You got Zemo, like, yeah, you got a pretty.
You got Ghost, like Ghost is clearly going to be in that thing. The lead is apparently like being looked at for the villain. So.
Finally, 10 years after Goo dropped on his brain, the leader, my boy is coming back.
What has he been doing? He's been working at Starbucks the entire time.
Oh my gosh, with his big, massive head. And he's like, I bet you I can predict what you're going to want.
You guys are thinking too logically. What he's been doing is eating, like, nuts and bolts on YouTube to get money because, you know, eating channels. He's seen the end of humanity.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm going to go eat nuts and bolts now. I'm doing this. Oh, good old... I mean, I'm excited. Like, whatever they have in mind, it seems like it's going to be different than the previous phases, which, honestly... I'm more excited by that than I was by these phases because it's like I want new and different approaches. You know, it's like when you get too comfortable, that's when you start to get kind of
lazy
and complacent. And it's like the MCU seems to want to change it up. So it's like if you guys got good ideas, please do that. You know.
So what you're saying is when everything just starts to get settled, God throws a stone at
it.
Yeah.
Just to bring it to the beginning again.
Yep. Young Avengers, New Avengers, Dark Avengers, what's coming at us in Phase 4? We're probably going to find out soon enough, but Mitch, kick this off. What kind of ideas you got for where they're going and what they want to do?
Well, I think Young Avengers is kind of the obvious one. Now, if you look at what they're doing, a lot of the stuff points to them. You know, Hawkeye's got Kate Bishop in it. The WandaVision series is, I imagine, going to bring in the kids. That's what I've been told anyway. The Bucky, or not Bucky, the Captain Winter Soldier show, you can do a Patriot of some kind in there. You could, got Cassie Langer's stature in Ant-Man, so they're kind of already there, or at least the potential for them to be there is. So, you know, they've also said they've wanted a franchise to run alongside the Avengers.
Yeah.
So having like an actual young Avengers franchise, you know, is kind of a no-brainer.
Here's what people... This is kind of naive, but it's kind of naive of me to think that everybody knows because they don't. So if you go back and listen to the investor call that Bob Iger did, like probably about 6 months ago or so was the one. And he specifically talked about the future of the Avengers brand. And he literally wants to reassure the investors. He goes, the Avengers brand will continue, but we're not ready to announce anything. Look, the Avengers is continuing. That's a guarantee. But what iteration, that's what he's getting people ready for. Because it's like, yes, the Avengers name, I think the core Avengers are done. You're never going to see Cap, Tony, and Thor side by side again until maybe if they could pull off Secret Wars in like 15 years. But for right now, you can't just call them Avengers, right? Like, you got to be New Avengers, Dark Avengers, West Coast Avengers. You know, I don't care what you call it, but it's got to be a sub-brand.
It also kind of like eases people into the idea of a new team.
Yep.
Like, yes, the 4 Avengers movie we've gotten already, like the team and roster changed, but you always had the core 3. And you always had that core original 6 group as well. So labeling it New Avengers, being like, look, you have similar archetypes, like, you know, Sam's now Captain America, maybe Valkyrie takes over Thor's spot, you got another captain in there and all that. You know, so
Scott's still there. Got Ant-Man.
Yeah. You got Ant-Man and the Wasp as well, so you can finally have an Avengers team with the founders on it. Not all of them, obviously, but the important ones. So you can just ease people slowly into that idea and be like, look, these are called the new Avengers. They're not replacing what you had. They kind of are, but they're not the ones you've had before. We're keeping them as they are, and this is going to be this low.
And that's kind of something I also want to bring up. Like, as much as it hurts me to say this, I think they need to replace Silvestri's theme with something new or remix it, because I love the Avengers theme, but that's the Avengers. It's like it won't feel the same.
That's like Star Wars changing its music up because it's Rey and Finn and Poe.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Star Wars still kept that core music.
It does. So the thing is, when it comes to a Star Wars, you still have the original people finishing off their story. So now Star Wars is going to have the end of that particular song.
Also, the solo standout ones, Rogue One and stuff, they didn't include the main theme. So it's like, that's so... I feel like you need to brand it as a whole new thing. Like, if they do Dark Avengers, which I feel like that they are going to do that, I think Dark Avengers can literally be something that nobody is expecting, and when it comes out, we watch it, we're like, oh wow, like that's next level stuff right there, like.
See, I kind of like grown too attached to that Avengers theme to let it
Same.
go. Like, even though it's kind of at the point where it's like, you probably should let it go.
Yeah.
But if you just remix it to make it sound different.
Yeah.
Then like even Dark Avengers, make it sound a bit more dark, a bit more militaristic.
I want to bring that up because Danny Elfman was brought in to do the score for Age of Ultron, and his Avengers theme is Silvestri's, but he remixes it and Elfman's it enough that it's just slightly different. And I personally,
whimsy.
I love that theme. Like, it's just different enough that it sticks out a little bit. So
Yeah, we just listened to it in the car. It's like you can hear that it's Danny Elfman because he has that slight whimsical, not as much as he does in like Harry Potter, but he has that whimsy kind of charm to it, but also adds a Batman feel. So
also,
then,
I mean, I'm glad you brought up Batman because it's. You remember when we were watching Justice League? I know, try not to. Don't hurt your brain too hard. But
please don't.
when Batman shows up, they go back to the 1989 theme. Like, it's like you need to get past that at some point because at some point it just feels like
wrong.
Yeah, and like you're pandering to the look at what it is, you know.
But with that, that's a different Batman. It's a different franchise.
Yeah,
this is
true.
Still like Marvel only has the one.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. I think that everyone's going, they need to make their music a bit more iconic. It's like, well, it is iconic now. You look at Silvestri's Portals, like who doesn't know Portals?
Oh my god, Portals is a masterpiece.
We've just peaked with that Avengers theme. Like, use it that way.
Yeah.
Just make it different and just keep the core like that, and just go on with that.
Yeah, no,
because at that point, it is that is their soundtrack now.
Right, that is the Avengers. That's what we know them as. At the same time, out of like Young Avengers, New Avengers, and Dark Avengers, what are you guys most excited for? I guess I'll go around here. Shay, which one do you want to see the most?
I'm actually going to be going with Young Avengers since A-Force isn't one that's on here yet. And the big reason why is I actually saw a meme that's going around lately that is a guy talking about how excited he was as a child seeing Superman for the first time, and he put a cape on and jumped off of his sofa. So having Young Avengers is going to be able to have the younger teenage crowds have that and so excited moment of being able to see, hey, these are people my age-ish being able to be a helping force to be able to help the community. And obviously they're going to be more in an epic fashion, but it's going to sit there and potentially hopefully spark that interest in the younger generations.
It's kind of like Spider-Man in the MCU.
Yes.
It's the only one that's actually a goddamn teenager. Because like, you looked at Tobey Maguire, you're like, dude, you're clearly 35.
Yeah.
And you looked at Garfield, you're like, you're clearly in your late 20s. Like, they were doing the CW thing. Then you look at Tom Holland, you're like, all right, you're older, but I could clearly tell you still look like a teenager. And
He
you got
acts
that.
like it.
Right.
So he's 20, but he hasn't hit puberty yet.
No,
exactly.
he has not.
I guess I'll go next, then we'll get to you guys. To me personally, I want Dark Avengers. Like, and here's why. It's a contrast to the heroic team we just had. Like, the Avengers were so built up, and everybody knows them. They're celebrities. They're all over. Like, everybody's heard of them. And now, if you introduce the Dark Avengers, you have that opportunist like Norman Osborn, who's like, I'm going to take that name, and I am going to warp this and I have my team, and yeah, we're going to do a little bad, but we're going to put on a face and make it seem like what we're doing is good. It's just the complete opposite, which then makes me think, once you do the Dark Avengers, their opponents become the New Avengers. So it's like a perfect lead-in to counteract the team. Because if you just go straight into New Avengers, to me personally, it feels like you're almost pushing too much of a, look, you got to see these new guys, forget the old ones. Like, there needs to be a reason behind it. So, to me, I want Dark Avengers first, and then as their counter, like, you build up the Avengers as a, force to them in the main film. So
that makes sense.
That's kind of me. Mitch, what do you got?
I'm torn between both Young and Dark Avengers. Like Young Avengers, it comes in here and goes like, look, there is a legacy in this universe. Like we can do whatever. You can just continuously go on for as many years as you want us to go on for. Mm-hmm. Dark Avengers it just brings up such an interesting, like, you have a power void right now, and like it is that opportunist like Osborn moment that you were talking about, and that's kind of like I don't know. I need to see how they actually go ahead and do this, but it's definitely the more interesting one because you can go so many angles with it. It's like, look, those guys, they're gone. They kind of failed you. Yes, they brought everyone back. But we're not going to make those mistakes, and you can like win people over that way. And then they could play it off that Dark Avengers are the heroes and the new team, and then play it that way.
You just want to see the Iron Patriot.
Yes.
I mean, I saw that in Endgame.
Yeah.
Rhodey's wearing it. So.
Yeah. It's, I don't know.
Also, person that you can bring Minerva back because she's not dead. Like, yes,
True.
the ship blew up, but you didn't see her die.
That's true. You can make her some sort of Tristan, what do you got? Which one are you more excited for?
Me, I know it's kind of weird, but the New Avengers, because you could I've been toying with like you can make it like their version of the Ultimates, where you have Carol, Black Panther, and Doctor Strange, coming together, saying that we have people out there protecting Earth, trying to make sure they don't come here. But what if they do? We don't really have a defense system.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they can also bring in Scott Lang and some other heroes. Even if they want to, they can even bring in Spider-Man because they have that one with Far From Home saying. He's been to space, so he shouldn't even be considered, friendly neighborhood at this point.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing. Would you like? There's a thing going around Twitter, like asking people what their new core 6 Avengers would be. It's like, would you ever have Spider-Man on your core Avengers team?
Well, he was on a new event. Yeah, well, he was technically on a new Avengers. So.
But he was an adult in the comics. He was a kid.
I honestly don't want him as a core Avenger. Like, I don't want him. That's my personal thing, but
I can see him being the one who helps lead the Young Avengers because he is a younger person. Obviously, they'll have somebody older, like potentially like Scott, have him do it, and then be like, Peter's like, dude, I have more like maturity than you.
I would love it if Scott Lang, and they're like, what team am I on? And they're like, you go to the Young Avengers. He's like, I gotta raise a bunch of kids? What is this?
Wasn't it Hank Pym who did the Young Avengers in the comics?
I can't remember.
I swear Hank Pym did something, or Avengers Academy he did. It was one of them, I'm certain of it. But yeah, it just kind of mirrored that with Scott Lang. It's like, that's never going to go well.
Avengers Academy sounds like a perfect Disney Plus show.
Oh, yes.
Like, Jesus Christ, that's money printing right there.
What you do is you set up every Young Avenger, then you have the Young Avengers movie, then you go back and have a Avengers Academy, and then you have Young Avengers 2, and you do it that way. Yeah. So look, here's the big adventure, here's them learning everything, here's their big adventure, here's them learning everything, and play it off that.
So I guess that's the end of that topic. So you guys let us know what Avengers team you would like to see in the MCU. That nicely brought us to the end of the show. That's pretty good. I would say
solid show.
It's a good show. Say that every week, but this one was also good. We had topics to talk about.
So it's not bad when there was literally nothing.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Oh no. One day there'll be news, but not today.
Well, okay, so I got this email, and clearly the guy listens to us and is a fan, but he was like, why don't you guys talk about anything DCEU? For the last month, it's been all MCU topics and Spider-Man. And I nicely replied, when there is news about the DCEU, we will talk about it, but can you show me any topics worth talking about? And I haven't heard back from him, but that's kind of the thing. Like,
he's still looking to this day.
There is nothing unless you want us to like Like, there's actually physically nothing. There is nothing to talk about
There
with DC.
hasn't been anything since the Birds of Prey leaked, like
Yeah.
those photo leaks,
Yeah.
and the only thing is the rumors that Idris Elba is going to be Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, yeah.
So it's like that's not a huge topic.
Right. Because it's still
And
just like-
even then, I think it's actually more linked to him being Sportsmaster.
True.
So
So
it's...
that's kind of why. But overall, hopefully you guys enjoy the show, and we'll be back next week, probably around the same time. So make sure you guys check us out, and see you soon.
It's like
It was very creative.
they actually like bashed his head on the box, and like he had to go.
Well, the thing
in
with like Detective Pikachu was I thought it was just like really well handled, and like they respected the source material better than most comic book movies or like video game movies. So I was like, oh, this is good.
Yeah, because I think the writers and even like either the producer or the director actually kind of knew about Pokemon in the first place, and they wanted to do it right, so they went with the Pokemon Company, and they even got some freelance artists. I think one of the artists that was famous online because he was the one who was doing the realistic Pokemon that got him to help out with concept art.
Like,
Yeah,
here's
Armin
what kind
told
of
me
like it
that.
gets to me, right? It's like I was one of the people that wanted like, oh, just tell us the basic story, travel and get the get the badges and all that. But in retrospect, I'm like, I'm glad this was the first introduction into the Pokemon world, because had it been like follow the story of like Yellow or something, right? I don't think it would have worked. Like I think honestly you need to build up to that movie, and this establishes an easier like walk into the world than just beat you over the head.
Yeah, I guess they wanted a lesser known side project before they go into the main source material, because they sprinkled that in the movie with the beginning. They did a brief telling of what a Pokemon trainer is, and then
Yeah.
so the reason why.
Isn't Red at the end?
There is a reference to I think Red supposedly in the beginning.
Yeah, in the gym battle thing, right?
Yeah, they're talking about trainers and gym battles, and there's a kid that wears an outfit similar to Red, and it's in red, but they didn't like say who it was.
Oh, that's got to be Red then. There's no one else in the Pokemon world that wears red.
And then when I was listening, they did take some story elements from the base video game where Mewtwo escaped 20 odd years ago and he's roaming around.
Yeah.
Which I think they'll eventually come down to that movie if it gets to it, It's like, because I don't think they can make like a Detective Pikachu trilogy. I mean, I could be wrong, but maybe.
I don't think they can, because they removed Pikachu's voice. Like
Yeah.
Pikachu has
Yeah.
no voice now.
Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't understand, because they did greenlight the sequel, but I don't know if they're gonna do it now unless they're gonna shove Ryan Reynolds back into Pikachu.
No. Here's what makes sense to me, right? Detective Pikachu's gonna eventually merge with someone else, and now they can get Danny DeVito and have Ryan Reynolds as the cop. So we get the best of both worlds.
No.
Well,
And the funny thing about that is that during some talk with executives, they did do clips of Danny DeVito in Detective Pikachu.
they used clips from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I can just imagine Pikachu screaming, "You're a whore!"
No, because then that wouldn't make sense.
Rumham.
Because of the fact that, like, it seems like Mewtwo kind of goes away. Maybe they're going to sit there and Pikachu is going to no longer choose the father and be a part of his adventure instead, and it's still him being Pikachu, just he can't talk to you.
I mean, they'll find an interesting way. I feel like that the movie was good enough that they can find interesting ways to take it, So,
As long as they don't like ash it up, because
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then I've like figured out that some Psyduck are like just real jerks, saying that if they don't get foot rubs, they're gonna kill everybody.
I loved Psyduck. He was so great. Yeah. All right, so I guess we're gonna I guess the pre-show's over, so let's just get